What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. That's the one, the only. It's Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scotty, what's happening, buddy? Happy Friday.
Oh man, I am waist deep into some really good games. I can't wait to talk about it. This episode coming up.
Yeah, we got a good lineup, dude. We got a banger of games just kind of in the flux right now. All kinds of things just flowing in, so you definitely want to be paying attention to what we're up to because, well, as I said, we're on fire right now, man. There's so many things happening, it's ridiculous. But it's a good thing, right? Could be worse.
Oh, so, yeah.
There's always something to play. I think that's the biggest thing, right? But you guys can be joining us right now over on YouTube at the official ITG, or actually I think our YouTube channel is what? Inside the Game Official, because someone took the official ITG. I want that name back. Give it back. Give it back. I know. I don't know, man. I have no idea, but they did. So that's where it is there. But over on Twitch, you can find us at twitch.tv/theofficialitg. But if you can't join us live, that means you should be hitting us up later inside the game.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Dude, coming up on today's show, the next Assassin's Creed game, Infinity, will not be free to play, says Ubisoft. Well, that's good to know. Ubisoft also announces a bunch of delays. That's unfortunate, but of course, nowadays, that's to be expected. And our gamers burning out on New World already. Plus, we also have your PlayStation Plus games for November. Scott, you ready to get going? Because we got two articles rolled into one here, and I can't wait to get going. So let's do it. Assassin's Creed Infinity will not be free to play. Ubisoft has confirmed huge title from the Ubisoft's Montreal and Quebec studios is still in early development. With good news, also comes in a way of some delays in the bad news. This comes from Tom Ivan over at VGC. I rolled two stories into one here because I didn't feel like breaking it up. We're already here. Let's keep going with it, right? That's kind of how I was looking at it. So let's do it that way. Assassin's Creed Infinity will not be a free-to-play game. Ubisoft has confirmed, having said in May that it is planning free-to-play games across all its biggest franchises. Ubisoft was asked about Assassin's Creed Infinity's business model during its second quarter earnings call on Thursday. It's not going to be free-to-play, and this game will have a lot of narrative elements in it. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said, "It's going to be a very innovative game, but will have what players already have in all the Assassin's Creed games, all the elements that they love to get them in the right place from the start." Scott, before we go any further, what are your thoughts on the Assassin's Creed Infinity game being a games of service model? Does this concern you? You excited? What's your thoughts on that one, buddy?
I'm not a very big fan of game of service. I think it's done well in some cases, but
sure,
it makes me a little nervous that Assassin's Creed is going to get that kind of treatment.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be bad, but I think it might just take a little while to find its stride, and that's kind of a very volatile launch window in that idea. So it's I'm nervous about it, but I want to see constant innovation, things coming in, new updates. I think it's very exciting to think about.
It is in the long run, right? I think going forward with Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft always wants the players to stick around. That's why Assassin's Creed games right now are like 100+ hours. Like, there's so much content. But at the same time, dude, how many times do you want to go out and kill the same target over and over and over again?
Yeah, there's problems with that. I mean,
right?
We play Hitman lots and lots, but
yes, we do.
This is quite a different setting, game, subgenre. It's just not quite the same.
No, I know. Yves Guillemot went on to say it's going to be a huge game, but with lots of elements that already exist in the games that we published in the past. We got outposts to clear. Like, dude, I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. I played them all. Dude, I played every single Assassin's Creed game from the day one. And moving forward, like, we've had the fatigue of Assassin's Creed set in, to the point where they took a bit of a hiatus, come out with Black Flag, then that went off really well. Then they kind of went in flux and whatever, and then Origins comes out of nowhere, and that was a fantastic game. Then you get in, like, they've had good games. Valhalla hasn't struck a chord with me personally, but it has with a ton of other people and other fans. But we've seen the iterations of how well Ubisoft has changed the formula of what we know Assassin's Creed to be from the very beginning of a stealth game to more, I'd say more now of an action platformer, or I'd say more of an action RPG, right? I think is where I should correct myself there. But that's, like, we've seen the change, and you can get stealth elements in Odyssey You can sneak around, but it's not the same as we had in the past where you were on the bench, right? And you're eavesdropping in, and people had problems with that. But that was the first game. And then you get into 2 and how well that one took off. But it's just everything's changed so much. But dude, this is what, like the 15th Assassin's Creed game or something like that? Like, how many times do you keep going? And are the fans striving, and are they even starving for a game like this in the Assassin's Creed franchise? But they're going to keep Valhalla alive for the next 2-3 years probably with more content until Infinity drops. Do you see them taking a year off, say, okay, you know what, Valhalla, we're done, we're now going to shift gears, go right to Infinity, and we're going to bust our butt getting that one done and polished, so that when it does launch and you reach your end game content, that there's still stuff to do? Because we've seen, and like we're about to talk here in the near future of New World, dude, end game content is where the game is supposed to begin for a lot of these games of services.
Yeah, it is quite a different formula to see what they're going to do. And I think it really just depends on how far out this launch is, really. And if it's going to be delayed, that's just more question on top of that. But
yeah,
if they have enough time to work on it, absolutely, I could see them kind of bookending Valhalla to start this project. But that kind of goes against what a game of service sounds like to me. A lot of the time, I think games of service, well, it's my worry, it launches half-baked, and they kind of take a little while to put together the pieces.
Sure.
So I think that could be expected a little bit. But
it's
I'm hoping, because it's who handles this, I think, will determine just how solid it is out of the gate. I have confidence. Well, just a little bit of worry.
Yeah, I think we all have a little bit of worry. But the teams behind this, Assassin's Creed Infinity, is in collaboration between Ubisoft Quebec, which worked on Odyssey, and Ubisoft Montreal, which worked on Origins and Valhalla. So the two main pillars of the Assassin's Creed franchise at this moment are the ones working on Infinity. So, dude, like I'm very curious to see what the overall scope of this game is. What's the outcome? What's their game plan down the road? And how are you going to keep people invested and keep them alive? We talk about it all the time about that games of service model just dying at the end of the game. And we're just kind of left going, now what? Like, dude, Marvel's Avengers, I bring it up all the time. You play the DLC? Mm-hmm. Cool. Now what do you want me to do? Go back and hit another droid? I don't feel like doing that. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, you don't want to get past that. You always, for me personally, I like daily challenges, but I also want to do something new. I don't want to be doing the same thing, and repetitiveness wears me out super fast. My interest span is like very limited. So if you got to be able to keep me there and keep me excited, but we'll see what happens. But dude, coming into some other bad news, Ubisoft also announced delays for several games on Thursday. The Division Heartland and Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake, both of which were previously scheduled for the release during its current fiscal year, will now launch during the year ending of March 31st, 2023.
Oh,
man.
Quite far.
That is a massive leap, Scott, in what was going on there. Announced in May, Heartland is a free-to-play Division spin-off. Ubisoft has described it as a standalone experience that will provide an all-new perspective on the universe in a new setting. A week after the game was revealed, 20 minutes of gameplay footage was leaked, along with more information on the title, including its 45 PvEVP mode called Storm. This article, I talked about who became this, right? Yeah, okay, I'm just making sure. I'm still talking about the same article. It's the same person who covered it, so yeah, okay. It also announced last September was the original rescheduled for its release in January 2021. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake has already been delayed a couple of occasions. Quote, Prince of Persia is a beloved brand, and we are taking the appropriate time to ensure that we are living up to the players' expectations. Dude, this comes from Ubisoft's chief financial officer, Frederick Duguet. He said that on Thursday. As we said during Q1, testing phases for our free-to-play games are ongoing and in form of release plans. So, to me, like, dude, and this also wraps up with Rocksmith Plus, which was last month delay, and it's now going to be in the summer. So it's they're all over the place. Scott, they get ahead of themselves. I think,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
It sounds like they're going in too many directions all at once.
Absolutely. It's exciting to see what they're working on. There's no doubt about it, right? Like, we always want to know, dude, what are you working on next? Like, when's the next Splinter Cell game? Like, we talked about that just not too long ago. And they got all these projects in the works. But maybe you can reveal that you're working on it. Just don't reveal your timeline plan, because everything gets delayed now. And all it does is it just ticks off the fan base. So you lose some of that mind share because, oh, here comes the game. Well, now it's delayed. You know what? I understand. Scott, you understand. Games are hard. Like, there's no doubt about how hard they are to make and to get all the bugs and the polish. But they gotta, I think, they put out a release date for the people that are backing, right? The investors that are in there supporting the game to say, here's the money that you're going to get for it. But then you're still ticking them off because now you're just delaying the game. It's such a problem. We still have yet to see anything on Beyond Good and Evil 2 or Skull and Bones.
Yeah, no, those are both just gone vacant dark. But
I think 2023 is going to be a good year. I think that's what's coming, man. Like, it's
funny. I remember saying that 2021, that's going to be a big year, and then here we are. We're still looking up the mountain.
Well, that's just it. Aren't we getting GTA 6 in 2023, or is that 2025? I can't remember, but
I think that's 2030.
Yeah, no kidding. We're all over the place, but it's unfortunate. More delays. The Division Heartland, really. Like, so there's still. We just talked about they delayed the new update for the Division 2. That was pushed. That's pushed now until, I believe, February. Like, dude, February is just getting stacked. February is ridiculous. How many things have been shifted over there? I'm like, who's going to get out of the way of February? Put it into January. Put it into March. Just get out of the way of February. Open that up a little bit, because like, it's going to be a nightmare for us. There's so many things on the go, and it's just not even for us as the media that covers the industry. It's for the fans too, because they're going to want to jump in and play these games. But if you don't spread them out a little bit, they're not going to be able to play them, and then you're going to probably lose out on sales as well. Oh, dude, I feel a sneeze coming. Woo! Oh, wow.
I've never seen somebody shake it away like that.
Gone. Just like
I've learned something today.
All right, let's move into what, dude, Paul Tassi over at Forbes. I like his articles. I think they're really cool. They come from a personal perspective, and he's talking about New World is burning out already. So let's get into his article. He says, for me, it's not what some ultra endgame players have experienced, namely that New World does not have a great endgame. Some people are just setting it down when they run out of things to do. But I am a bit short of that point. I find myself running into progression blockers everywhere I turn. Here's what's been getting me, he says. Skill leveling. The higher you get, the more you discover that crafting at higher levels and pushing your skills higher becomes just plain exhausting. It's not a very logical system, and then the crafting doesn't just suddenly let you use the materials you've unlocked. For instance, to use a certain type of fabric, I not only need the level and the high-end materials, I need a ton of materials from the previous 2 levels as well. Dude, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that?
That's kind of strange. I'm not sure why that makes sense on their end.
Man, materials that may not be all available where I am, so you have to scour the entire map for 3 different farming spots to make one single type of new material. Dude, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah, this is reminding me of Last Oasis and how there was a whole lot involved in crafting stuff, but this sounds like it's got even more steps attached.
Dude, I've been thinking about Last Oasis a lot, actually. It might be I can jump back in. Like, dude, those walkers are so cool, but I just didn't want to play it by myself. But either way, Paul continues on with expeditions. He says, most of my quest lines keep dead-ending me at expeditions. Non-match-made dungeon activities that cost a limited quantity currency to even attempt, and if you fail, you use it up. So you need a solid group together to ensure that you beat it, or else you have wasted both your time and your resources. Ouch. Dude,
there's got to be some challenge to the raid or whatever their terminology is. That makes sense, but it does kind of seem like a wall put up arbitrarily. I think I see what he's saying here.
Absolutely. Oh, there's Northern Nerdcast in Twitch. What's up, buddy? Thank you for joining us. He says Assassin's Creed already had fatigue in releasing a game every year, similar to Call of Duty. But yep, they both seem to sell extremely well. That's the biggest thing, right? Continue on with Paul saying, he says PvP. Wars are just in a very bad state. Broken perks, meaning using anything but a few builds is death. Massive lag, which makes large-scale battles almost impossible to parse, and wars happening all the time and begin much too oppressive on the PvE side of things, given all the costs you endure if your faction is not in control. Too much weight has been placed on the system, and it's just not functional enough. I hit up a good friend of the show, Tornado. And I said, dude, are you because I know he's playing this game. I said, dude, are you still playing this? He says, yes, but he only bounces in a little bit here or there because he's not quite up to the level yet of complete at the end game, more or less. But he's kind of he's teetered off, Scott, right? He's teetered off a little bit, but he's still kind of drip feeding in the gameplay. So it's just not the initial grind that we saw everybody, like the 900,000 people waiting to play or get on the servers, right? It's not that. You go on Twitch right now, there's like 50,000 people watching it.
So it's dropped off significantly.
Exactly.
You can't always expect it to be a one stop for everyone.
No.
Of course it's going to fall off. I'm not sure if we're just past that level where everybody was on RuneScape, then World of Warcraft, then MapleStory. Like there was a time period when I remember just before high school where these games would hold you for a year plus. But
yeah,
I'm not sure if that's even capable in today's world anymore.
Well,
we mentioned how many releases there are every week, and it's just staggering.
Absolutely. Like yesterday, what we have almost 10 games or something like that, and then today we only have one, right? But it's funny how it just dead silent it goes. But it's a pretty big one in the world of Nintendo. But either way, it's kind of one of those things. I think you make a good point there, Scott. Is can they keep us around to how they did in the past? Because there are so many new games out each and every day that we're always on to the next thing. That's the problem with our gaming industry, is that we're always on in the next new and shiny. Right, where before, dude, you would play one game and that's what you had for 6 months. Like, yeah, that's a reality back in when we were kids, honestly.
Yeah,
right.
When I was playing with my GameCube, I had like 30 games, an obscene amount. That's kind of always been my thing. Yeah. And I remember going back to the cupboard and going through the games over and over and over again. But yeah, it's just a whole different world now. That was 15, 20 years ago.
Absolutely. I think what happens nowadays is that one game launches and it finds its community, and if you can hold on to that community, keep them invested, you'll keep your game alive. But dude, it'll phase out over time with certain players, right? Like myself, I said, I don't want to keep coming back to the same thing every time over and over and over again. Marvel's Avengers, I keep going back to it because I jump in for that DLC, get that experience, have a good time, and then I bail out. Right. And I wait for the next content to drop. I could grind out the challenge card. I just don't want to. I really just don't want to. I want the perks that are in there. But at this point, I almost rather just buy the challenge card, get all my stuff, and then bail out because I don't feel like doing that grind every day.
I wonder if somebody did a calculation on that one, too.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody goes, okay, we're going to make a lot of money here. Let's make them struggle to get this, and they'll just buy it. Because at the end of the day, there's not enough end game content to keep me invested. Anthem is prime example. Dude, I really missed that game. I saw it on my games list the other day. It's like, yo, this could have been. Like, what this could have been. Oh, man.
I find my disc every once in a while. Remember that I spent $10 on it. But I still didn't bring the $10 out of it. It's just sad.
Oh, it's so bad. Dude, I'll go back. If you want to play the campaign, I'll play it with you. It was. I like the campaign personally. But do we have games for PlayStation Plus November? And we're starting off with the PS4, PS5 game, First Class Trouble for Plus members. You're also going to get Knockout City, Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning, and Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. Whatever. Right? Like, come on. What a awful whatever. Dude, Kingdom of Amalur, I kind of wonder now at this point if they're going to revitalize that franchise over at THQ, if they're going to make another one, or if we're just going to get stuck with that one for the rest of our existence. But after that, we get into the world of PlayStation VR with The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Yo, I tried this game, dude. I couldn't do it, man. It was one of the creepiest experiences I've ever had. I can feel the zombies coming up from behind me, and it is intense. If you have the opportunity to play it, you like horror games, yo, you gotta check this one out. It is very, very cool.
If you haven't played VR at all, don't blame you, first of all. But secondly, you get into that, and it's the sound that gets me.
Oh, man.
When you can hear the zombie squelching. And there's been a few horror titles that I've played on my Oculus, and man, is that effective.
It just scares the crap out of me, dude. So yeah, The Walking Dead was there. The Persistence is also there, and wrapping it up is Until You Fall. 3 PSVR titles. Dude, they're getting ready for PSVR 2. Guarantee it.
Yeah.
Just get you invested.
I'm here for that. As long as we get enough PlayStation 5s on the market that we can afford the semiconductors to do it, let's do it.
Dude, I can't wait. I think there's going to be such a leap forward for PlayStation VR 2. I was just playing a game this week for me and Steve on Oculus Quest 2, Song in the Smoke. And every time I jump in, dude, motion sickness, just like boom, half hour in. And it's unfortunate because this is like one of the coolest VR games, because it's, if you like that survival aspect of things and going out, gather materials, crafting, dude, this is the game. Like, it is fun. Like, I'm literally doing like crafting. I'm grabbing a log and I'm grabbing my knife and I'm like whittling it down so I can get other materials.
That's cool.
That. Oh, it is. It is really cool, but I can't play the game because I keep getting motion sickness. So I'm in there for short bursts of time. And then by the time I get out, I'm like, oh man. So I'm really hoping that they fix that with PlayStation VR 2.
You're making me wish that Green Hell had a VR edition.
Oh yes, it does. Okay. And it's on its way.
I'm doing.
It's on its way. I'm not sure if it's out yet, but it's coming. It's coming very soon. So yeah, we're keeping our eyes on that one for sure as well. But dude, let's keep going with Sony, because Sony has offered PlayStation PC label for its PC games push. This comes from Andy Robinson over at VGC. On Wednesday, Steam users noticed that the platform holder's PC releases had their publisher switched to PlayStation PC LLC from the previous PlayStation Mobile label.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mobile doesn't seem to be super accurate anymore.
No, not at all, right? According to the corporation wiki listing, Sony Interactive Entertainment registered the PlayStation PC name in April this year via its California-based headquarters. Although the name appears to be formality, it represents another strong signal that Sony intends to increase its gaming output on the PC platform. Sony's first modern PC port was, Scott, one of your favorites, Horizon Zero Dawn in August, and Days Gone this May. 2 of your solid. Dude, those are like, yeah, like I knew what I was already in for because I played them on PlayStation. So when I said, hey, you want these codes? You're like, oh yeah, I do. And there you go. Because dude, it was fantastic. Also, looking ahead, you get the Uncharted 4 Thief's End and Uncharted The Lost Legacy coming to PC in 2022, which is pretty cool. God of War apparently is on its way as well. The 2018 edition, the very first one. The first remake anyways. And then
the very first one was 20 years ago, I believe.
Yeah, we don't want that one anymore. No, you got to play the newest one. And then there's rumors of Sackboy Big Adventure coming over the world of PC as well. Dude, it's a nice step forward that PlayStation's stepping it up, because every time Xbox launches a game, it goes where? First party, right? It goes to Xbox, goes to Game Pass, and it goes to PC, because it opens up your sales. Let's be honest. It opens up the sales. Steam is one of the biggest platforms in the world of PCs, one of the biggest platforms in gaming. So why wouldn't you want to be able to get in on that? And now Jim Ryan's saying, now with the advancements of their technology and their game development, it broadens that horizon. It makes it easier for them to develop the games for PC, keep it on both sides, because you know why? Because the PS3 had a cell processor that nobody could develop for, and they're not doing that anymore. So they're actually more on the lines of a PC, and that's what they're working on.
Well, it's strange to me that they're a little behind on the hardware. They need to take some time to readjust, but it's a good move overall. Everybody has to readjust as time goes on.
Sure.
We're gonna do a whole new generation of hardware, so let's get it.
No, absolutely. Scott, we have one game out for today. What do we have, my friend?
We have, actually, this is a pretty solid release. This is on the Switch, and that would be Mario Party Superstars.
That is it. That was going to be it, dude. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. That's going to wrap up today's show. It's been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. Join us live over on YouTube or Twitch, but if you can't join us live, hit us up later, InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. It's Friday, everybody, so have a great weekend, and we'll see you inside the game.